I'm Marty Cohn, and welcome to episode 18 of Rotary Cares, the monthly award-winning show that tells you everything you want to know about Rotary and more. Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who come together to make positive, lasting change in the communities in which they live. Established over 110 years ago, Rotary now has 35,000 clubs worldwide. Rotary's motto is service above self, and we adhere to the four-way test, an ethical guide for Rotarians to follow not only in their professional lives, but also in their personal lives. The test has been translated into over 100 languages. Of the things we say or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? In Brattleboro, we have two Rotary clubs. The Brattleboro Rotary Club, which meets every Thursday for lunch at the American Legion, and the Brattleboro Sunrise Rotary Club, which meets every Wednesday for breakfast at the American Legion. Today, we will be discussing gift giving. Our guests are Brattleboro Rotary Club gift-giving chair Liz Harrison and Brattleboro Sunrise Rotary Club past president Will Shakespeare. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you, Marty. Great to be here.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time. So just to give everyone kind of a frame of reference, how long have you been involved with Rotary?
About 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, time is flying.
Yes.
And why did you join?
Well, I was invited by a member of the community to join. I had recently moved to Vermont, and she said, Liz, why don't you come take a look at Rotary? And I came to a few meetings and loved the quality of the people, and I looked at what the goals of the club were, and the service that they were giving to the community, and I thought, these are the folks I would like to get to know. It was the quality.
And in the course of your 15 years, you also have stepped up to serve the club well in terms of being a past president.
Well, thank you.
Now you're the chair of gift giving. Over the years, how much money do you estimate that the Brattleboro Rotary Club has given to local nonprofits?
Well, if you take a look at, let's say, the last 25 years, it's probably over $1 million.
Over $1 million?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible, and it's done in small increments.
Yes, it is.
That's fantastic. Now, do you have any idea about how many local nonprofits are the recipient of this kind of giving?
Well, on an average each year, they're probably 30 to 40. I would say an average about 35. They're not all the same every year. People can apply by going out online to the Rotary website and get an application. Sometimes our club funding is earmarked, like our Brattleboro Christmas trees are earmarked for scholarships for kids. In our annual golf tournament, we'll earmark a certain portion of those funds for the smaller nonprofits to be divided up. But it really is a lot of money every year.
So how does the club determine the amount of money every year?
Okay. Well, we have a particular budget, and then we sit down with a committee and review the applications and who would like to, and what their need is. And we do focus on children and the arts and people. It has to be a nonprofit.
Right.
But we really have a lot of gift giving to organizations like feeding kids in the summertime or holidays, things of that sort, and other services. But I mean, they can apply, and some gifts are 1,000 or more. Some gifts are a couple hundred. It depends upon what the organization is, what they're asking for, and what we can afford.
Right.
Yeah.
But what? So there's really broken down, because one is this formal gift giving, where you're saying a committee, and then during the course of the year, we're also giving away money.
Yes, certain fundraising efforts are earmarked for a particular project. Like the profits from the Christmas trees would be earmarked for scholarships.
Right.
The golf tournament can be earmarked for organizations that are doing health things.
Right.
And then part of that, they always give us some money for the gift giving committee.
Right,
But
right.
the committee doesn't give all the money. Some of the money has come from these the particular fundraising.
So we've got, so you mentioned, we have the Christmas tree sales, all right? That's monies that go to scholarships.
Yeah.
We've got the golf tournament. Now the golf tournament, correct me if I'm wrong, it's some of the money goes to Gateway.
Yes.
Some of the money goes directly to your committee to
Right.
give.
Yeah.
And a good chunk of money goes to the hospital.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, I think that over the last few years, we've given probably over $100,000.
Oh, easily.
To the hospital.
Yeah,
That's phenomenal.
That's right.
All right. Every year we do Feed the Thousands.
We do Feed the Thousands, and we go down to the Welcome Center, and everybody does baked goods, and we all volunteer and go down and sell the baked goods. We do small projects around town, and we raise money. The Rotarians raise money and give gifts to all people who are in nursing homes at Christmas to make sure every single person has a gift.
Right, right.
You know, there are all sorts of places we give money.
Now, what's cool about that is we're actually, in terms of the senior gifts, I mean, those are literally, we're giving gifts.
That's
we're
right.
we're not giving money.
Yeah.
We spend our money
right.
to
That's right.
To give these
That's
gifts.
right.
And the number of seniors that we're giving to, is going up.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You know, so I still can't get over $1 million. That's just a lot of
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
Other ways that we raise money, we were talking about before we came on the air, brags.
Well, we do brags. If somebody wants to brag about their kids, they have to pay. And sometimes people have a $1 brag, some people have a $100 brag. Other ways, we raise money. I just had it in my brain.
We fine each
we
other.
fine people, and we also do in-kind gifting. Like if a place needs to be cleaned up in town, we go do the labor.
Right.
If they specific projects, some of our members will donate the supplies, and then we'll go do the painting, the repairs, all those. So in kind, that saves everybody money.
Absolutely,
You know.
absolutely. And we, we did projects to fix Main Street. I think we strung
yes.
lights. I mean,
That's
there's
right.
just a lot of projects that we're giving back in terms of the gift giving. The other thing that we do, aside from the fines and the brags, people will come to us sometimes and say they've got a particular cause, and next thing you know, there's a hat going around.
That's exactly right.
You know, and
That's exactly right.
I think we're really a very generous club, very community minded. But not all of our gift giving goes locally, because we also raise money to go to the community at large of the world.
We do. We have matching fund projects that the Rotary International allows us to pick a project, submit an application, and if we raise a certain amount, they'll match it, and we can team up with other clubs to do that. You started, when you were president, you started
Pine Ridge.
the Pine Ridge project, and we've given a lot of material goods to help people make materials and sewing machines so they can make quilts, and then laptops. We all donated used laptops, and Marcy Jones's son was a guru at that. And
Right.
we sent those out to help the kids in school out there. So a lot of it's not necessarily cash,
Right.
but it's material goods that we raise. Everybody cleans out. There's a disaster, we clean out our drawers, we clean out our closets, and,
Right.
and we give it.
Right. Now, the other thing that we did this year, the Rotary, so there's Rotary International grants.
Right.
And then there's district grants.
Yes.
And this year, our club gave $250.
Yeah.
It was matched by Sunrise.
Right.
So that was 250 plus 250 is 500.
Right.
And then that was matched by district.
Right.
For a total of $1,000 that went to the Winston Prouty Learning Express bus. So
Exactly.
again, we turned $500 into $1,000,
That's right.
and it all comes into the community.
That's right. And another major project that our club began years ago with wonderful people was Pure Water for the World, of starting with a need in El Salvador. Is that right?
Right.
I believe that's where it started, and raising money to get a inexpensive water filter, and then matching grants with the National Rotary Foundation. And that became an organization unto itself because the need was so great, and it was just fabulous, and that is still going.
Right, and again, it's phenomenal in terms of the amount of the ways in which we're able to just leverage the money that we give. So,
That's right.
All right. Well, again, great work, and thank you for stepping up to do the gift giving this year. So my last question for you is, looking back over the 15 years, what's the best thing about being a Rotarian for you?
Well, I think it brings a sense of significance. When you know you've done something for someone else, you can sleep really well at night. And that's what it does for me personally. And I know that's a lot how most Rotarians feel. It's a sense of significance.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and thank you for being a Rotarian.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Liz Harrison, and we'll be right back with our guest, Will Shakespeare, the Rotarian, not the Bard, after this brief message from Rotary International. We'll be right back.
It is the world's largest, biggest service organization.
Rotary is 1.2 million members strong. And when you have an idea and you want to support a group of people or an individual, there'll always be somebody in Rotary who will join you in your quest.
I have found Rotary to be filled with people who are engaged and interested in a diverse array of subjects and people.
It's love. You gotta love people. You gotta love service. You have to love this great organization. I've never met a Rotarian that I didn't get that feeling from.
Rotary is service. And you don't come to Rotary to get something out of it. You come to Rotary to put something into it. And once you've put something into it, you will get something out of it, but it won't be what you expect. It'll be better.
Welcome back to Rotary Cares, the monthly award-winning show that demystifies Rotary International. Today we're discussing gift giving, and our guest is Will Shakespeare, past president of Brattleboro Sunrise Rotary Club, and a Rotarian, not the Bard. I have to get that in. And welcome, Will.
Thank you, Marty. Great to be here.
Actually, I should say welcome back, Will, because
Yes, that's
you
right.
appeared on episode 9 when we discussed a time when club presidents stepped down. So that was
Right.
episode 9. All right, so just to remind everybody, how long have you been involved with Rotary?
I believe I started Rotary about 19 years ago. My friend John Penfield talked to me about Rotary and said, why don't you come for a breakfast and see if you like what we do. We'll give you a little presentation. So I went, and I never looked back. I joined and stayed with it, and that's been 19 years.
That's a lot of eggs. That's
a
a
lot.
lot of eggs. Let me just go
And
on
I
record.
supply the eggs for our Rotary clubs.
All right, so as we were talking with Liz, we every year we go year to year to year, but sometimes you take a step back. Over the years, how much money do you estimate that the Brattleboro Sunrise Rotary Club has given to local nonprofits?
Well, I'm not sure I should answer that, because what Liz said as an answer is fairly shocking and incredibly impressive. So that given...
Understand, you've never come to the Brattleboro Rotary Club. That's
Yeah,
okay.
well, I have.
Okay.
But we are a newer club. We
Right.
started actually a spin-off from members of the Noon Club.
Right.
When that was being a very large club of 100 and some odd.
Right.
So we have been in existing for a little while. So I did look back at our donations for the last 5 years.
Okay, 5 years is fine.
So looking at 5 years, we've
Yeah.
had about $52,000 $100,000 worth of checks written.
Wow.
Which is about $10,000 a year. We've written 120 checks in that period for an average of just under $500.
Well, that's pretty phenomenal. Now, do you have 120 checks? So does that correspond to 120 nonprofits, or is there any replication there?
Most of these are nonprofits.
Right.
We focus primarily on our local community, Windham County, obviously.
Right.
So about 40 different nonprofit organizations have received funding from us. About 10 organizations are outside of Vermont.
Right.
Some of them are Lakota Indians,
Right.
and some are in Nicaragua, and other projects that we've focused on for
Right.
food or water or other
Right.
needs. But primarily, we really focus on our communities.
Now, and again, what is really this actually started in our last show, episode 17. We were talking about the amount of money that we give in scholarships between the two clubs,
Yes.
and it's over $750,000 in scholarships. That's a
Yes,
lot.
it is a lot.
Now you stop and look at it. Here,
Yeah.
again, it's a lot of money that the clubs are giving that's going to the communities,
Yeah.
but not. So the money that comes into your club,
Yes.
it doesn't stick to your club. You're giving it out.
Oh, it turns right around and goes right back out. There's almost no coverage or overhead. As a matter of fact, we designate certain amounts of funding in our general fund
Right.
to go back out as donations,
Right.
as well as do regular fundraising. But you talk about the scholarship fund, and we've been running for almost 12 more years. The 3-on-3 basketball tournament, usually in April or March
Right.
or April.
Right.
And I believe we've raised over $250,000 just on that one tournament over the last 15 or so years. And all that goes out to seniors from our local schools, including Hinsdale, Brattleboro, Leland and Gray, Wilmington.
Right.
And that might be $1,000, $1,500. That helps buy books.
Right.
Gets that first year started off.
Right.
But we also ask that they apply for that. This is the only fund that we actually fund to individuals.
Right.
And it's at an invitation to
Right.
submit a paper.
Right.
And basically using the Rotary, the 4 steps.
Right.
And so we judge those and provide those scholarships based on their response to this, those 4.
Now, how do you determine who gets money that you raise?
Okay, so our board sets kind of one of our policies
Right.
Around, are we going to individuals, nonprofits? There are a lot of nonprofits that cover a number of needs. We've tried to focus our donations to youth and children,
Right.
but youth are still in a significant area of need. Some areas around nutrition. We also look at emergency situations that we would like to have the flexibility of saying, we need to address this specific concern.
Right.
So those are our primary pieces. And we give to most of the nonprofits in the community, youth services, New England Youth Theater, the hospital, of course,
Right.
Groundworks. So most of the places that you'll recognize, we are providing donations.
Now, the other thing that's a lot of people don't really understand it. They think that Rotary is a bunch of old folks that come together and sing songs and whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of fun that goes on in the clubs. Now, you have in your club, you have some fun ways to raise money.
Yes.
The
fishbowl thing.
the card the pick a card.
Pick a card. Yes, we have the pick a card. So it's a little gambling, and so it's a little edgy.
But it's for a good cause.
It is for a good cause.
So people buy a card and then they
Yep.
pick it out, and if you match, and that money goes.
We split the money. If we get $20 of cards by, $10 goes to the donation fund, and the other $10 goes to the winner.
Right.
So it's a nice way of starting to build up a little.
And I've also
fund
seen many a time that I've come to your club where the winner just in turn gives that money back.
Yes.
The other thing that I thought was kind of cool that you do is the trivia night.
Yes. That was a brainstorm. One of our members was actually traveling down in Florida and went to a Rotary Club in Florida, and they had this trivia event going on. And it was a number of tables, 100 people in the room, each paying for a dinner and this game of trivia. And they raised anywhere from $200, $300, $400 a night doing this trivia game.
Right.
And so she brought it back here and said, here's an organization that actually has all the trivia questions. They're all set out there. We just have to bring the people in, provide the venue and the time and the schedule, and provide the questions. So we set it up, and we've been running it for 5 or more years now, and we've given to a number of organizations. And we also ask, if we're going to give to you, we expect you to show up.
Right.
Bring your board, bring your staff, bring your people, show up, have a table, and it's a blast.
Right.
We have a lovely dinner there, and we have some great competition around musical memory, the oldies, and historical, and arts, and it's great fun. It's like Trivial Pursuits, but it's for a good cause.
Right. And the other thing that what I've also enjoyed, especially in the last few years, the clubs have really been working together.
Yes.
In raising money. You know, I remember actually this is going back maybe about 10 years ago, but there was a challenge by Rotary International to raise money for Polio Plus.
Yes.
And the thing was, they wanted every club to raise, I think it was like $3,000 over the course of 3 years. So we joined forces.
Yes.
And we had a Indian food and film festival.
Oh yes, that's where you go.
And we raised, I think it was like $12,000, but for the 2 clubs. We blew away any challenge because we did it all in 1 year, and we all right, now we're moving on to something else.
Fantastic.
I think there's been a lot of things like that. Disc golf.
I was just going to say that in many ways we talk about donations, but nowadays our donations come in a few different forms.
Right.
There is the good old cash donation, which is traditional, and we love doing that.
Right.
But we also have a huge labor force.
Right.
And every one of our Rotarians is committed to getting out on at least 3 community projects. So here we have this lovely memorial park in Brattleboro.
Right.
And one of your members and one of our members said, wouldn't it be great to have a disc golf course up in Memorial Park that the public can use?
Right.
And so our 2 guys got together and said, let's have a dual club collaboration. Let's clear some trails. Let's buy some disc golf.
Right.
I think we're at 19 different stations.
Right.
And we've been doing this, I think, now for 3 years. It's a phenomenal success.
Right.
Just a community project coming together. And so that's worked beautifully.
And again, the thing that, when you're thinking about a gift doesn't necessarily have to be money.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
now, another project that we worked on together, the 2 clubs, was around those little free libraries.
Oh, yes.
That was one where one of our members had a design for a little free library.
Yep.
And then we built, I think it was about 7 of them, and then we just gave them to the library.
Yes.
And whatever money they raised, and I think they raised over $2,000.
Isn't that fantastic?
So that's how it works.
It is. We have people with many different talents, and they are very willing to give.
Last question for you.
Yes.
What is the best thing, now thinking about all these years, what's the best thing for you about being a Rotarian?
Being a Rotarian means all of a sudden you are a member of a community, whether you like it or not. You are so enmeshed into the issues, the needs, and the community, the people that make up that community. And it creates a network that kind of infiltrates a place you may not know otherwise. I know more about Brattleboro than I ever would have known if I hadn't been in Rotary. So that's a gift, because community is where it's all about.
Well, Will Shakespeare, thank you for your service and your years of service as a Rotarian.
Thank you, Marty, for your commitment to this Rotary Cares project.
So I'd like to thank our guests, Liz Harrison and Will Shakespeare, and a shout out to Brattleboro Sunrise Rotary past president Kevin Yeager, who's doing all the magic behind the cameras. Thanks also for BCTV for recognizing us as the 2018 member of the Nonprofit Member of the Year. And also a special thanks to Brian Bashaw, who is just helping us bring this show to you. If you have any questions, concerns, or even ideas for future topics, you can email them to info@BrattleboroRotaryClub.org, info@BrattleboroRotaryClub.org. I'm Marty Cohn. Thanks for watching.